All right, so welcome to the Women's Hormones Talk. My name is Sandhya Matthews. I'm a senior product specialist with the Fruitful Yield. I've been into holistic health for over 50 years, so I've been around a lot of blocks as far as experience. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. What are we going to talk about? We're actually going to talk about these four topics. We're going to talk about estrogen balance and detox. Estrogen and progesterone are your female hormones. We're going to talk a lot more about that. We're going to talk about the menstrual cycle and PMS. We're going to talk about perimenopause and menopause. So you're tearing up to silly commercials. You can't stop eating. Your pants feel tight. Your breasts are sore. You can't sleep. You're losing hair. You have decreased sex drive. Foggy thinking, memory loss, bloating. Sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
So this is a normal cycle. This is a normal menstrual cycle. And why am I talking about it? Because we're about to talk about estrogen detox. So the red is estrogen. The yellow is progesterone. So if you look, think of estrogen as excitatory. Estrogen, excitatory. Progesterone, peace out, chill out, calm down, right? So what happens is when the cycle starts, it raises until it peaks out. If you notice this blue line down here, that's testosterone. All women have testosterone, but notice it peaks up. Right when you're ovulating, testosterone peaks up. Guess why? Your body's trying to tell you to be amorous so the egg can get fertilized. That's why that peak of testosterone is there. Then if you don't get pregnant, the body goes, "Aw," and the estrogen drops. And because you've been so excitatory with the estrogen, progesterone comes up and says, "I got you, girl. I got you." And it calms down, balances things out. So the progesterone tries to balance things out. And then the whole cycle starts again. So why am I talking about all this? Well, we already said estrogen has a stimulating effect. It's excitatory. If it's too high, you can feel irritable. Your breast can feel tender. If it's overstimulated, you can suffer headaches. Progesterone is sedating. It's calming. That's what kind of goes up if you don't get pregnant. So an imbalance of these hormones can make you feel like your life is being turned upside down. And it kind of is, because have you ever seen a marionette with those strings? Oh my gosh, estrogen and progesterone is that on steroids. Those go up and down. Yeah, you're kind of at their mercy. So basically, estrogen and progesterone relay signals from cells to cells and tell your organs what to do. And they do vary, as we saw in that diagram, naturally, month to month. So let's talk about estrogen balance and detox. So the most common and least talked about hormonal balance is estrogen dominance. Females' bodies go through cycles monthly. But if we unknowingly take xenoestrogens, xeno means fake estrogen or look-alike estrogen, we are causing an imbalance and throwing off and getting unwanted symptoms. So I'm going to go back to that slide. Okay, this is a normal balance, right? Or a normal cycle. When you have estrogen dominance, what happens is it goes up and it stays up. It's up, up, up. Up, the estrogen stays up, and you don't get a break. In earlier stages of life, around teenage years and older, or even adults can have adult acne. That's estrogen dominance. It just keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. It can cause a lot of things. So this is just basically an example of how xenoestrogens trick the cell or the signal and just says, okay, do this. And it says, okay, so where do we get these xenoestrogens, these foreign estrogens that mimic estrogen? And they alter the body's hormonal activity. Avoid things containing BPAs. Avoid things that have parabens, phthalates, petrochemicals, nano fragrances. Nano means tiny. Nano means so small it just goes right into your skin. Your skin can't, you can't keep it out. So when I was interviewing for my role here, I did a presentation on skincare products. And when I researched, part of my research was parabens, and there was a couple research studies of women who had growths in their breasts, and every single woman and every single growth had parabens in it. Every single one. So this is, I use a lot of analogies because I have to remember so many things. So I stay away from parabens in my skincare products because I don't want my pear to have been. I don't want my pear to have been. So they're not good for you. Phthalates, petrochemicals, personal care items, nail polish. You know, nail polish typically has formaldehyde in it. That's what they use to embalm people. None of our nail polishes has formaldehyde in it. Sunscreen. We have non-nano sunscreen. Our sunscreen stays on the top of your skin. It does not soak in. That's what it's supposed to do. Tampons and menstrual pads. Oh my gosh, please use organic personal care items. So my daughter used to be the buyer of textiles for a big company called American Hotel Registry. And she would buy the textiles. So as part of her job, they sent her down to Georgia, where she saw how the whole thing. She saw them picking the cotton. She saw them transporting it, baling it. Could you silence that? Baling it. And then she said when it gets there, what they do is the first thing they do is they pull out the finest threads. Those are the threads that you can, pay $1,000 or whatever for those really nice sheets. And then as they go through, they add excipients and chemicals and processing things. And she says at the very end, she says, Mom, you should have seen. It was this big pile of this brown sticks and mess and gunk. And she says, Mom, you know what they do with that? They bleach it, they grind it up, and that's what they make Tampax out of. Do you realize how many chemicals are in there? And then we're putting it where the sun don't shine? Oh my God, that's like mainlining it. That's really, really bad for you. Menstrual pads wouldn't be as bad because they actually don't go inside your body. We're going to talk about, in a couple slides, we're going to talk about things absorbing in your system. Plastic bottles. You want to get BPA free. Everything in the store that we carry is BPA free. Every single thing. Everything is vetted, even down to the gum. We vet everything. You wouldn't see how many things we reject. Anyway, plastic bottles. If it's crunchy, it's not good for you. You know how they make those bottles? It's like a big, almost like a rotary, like a gear. And on each of those there's a mold for a plastic bottle. And what they do is they shoot the hot plastic in the mold, and then they shoot cold water in there to make the bottle solidify. And then they cap it up, and that's what you drink. Yeah, you drink plastic soup on those crunchy bottles. And then just to bring home the point, my neighbor, she has had acne her entire life. And what they do is they go to Costco and they buy a big thing of these crunchy plastic bottles. And of course, it's so big they don't have room in the house for it, so they put it out on the back porch in the sun. And it stays there until they're ready to use it. The sun is making that even more plastic soup. And then she's drinking that. So just don't do that. Don't do that. You know what makes great water bottles is buy a couple bottles of kombucha. Those are great water bottles. They are so good. Don't heat plastic, even microwave safe plastic. Don't eat or drink anything out of a hot styrofoam cup. I know a lot of times they'll try to give you soup. Some people complain about the Starbucks cups. They say they line that in plastic. So if that really bothers you, which that's fine if it does, bring a to-go cup and say, hey, put my coffee in this cup. Just bring your own cup. And buy clean personal care and household products. So this is why. This is why we want to stay clean. This is some of the things that are caused by hormonal imbalances: accelerated aging, autoimmune issues, cervical problems, low mood, anxiousness, foggy thinking, memory loss, low blood sugar, mood cravings, polycystic issues, allergies, asthma, different kinds of irregular cell growth, cold hands and feet, fatigue, hair loss, infertility, bone density problems. Bone density is a big deal. Bone and heart is a big deal. Slow metabolism, PMS, fibroids, decreased sex drive, weight gain, headaches, irregular periods, insomnia, and bloating. So why does it matter what you put on your body? Because whatever you put on your skin topically goes in your bloodstream. 80% of it goes in your bloodstream in 26 seconds. 80% of it goes in your bloodstream in 26 seconds. So if you're taking a lotion, that's not clean, and you're putting it on there, it's soaking into your bloodstream. 80% of it in 26 seconds. Why is that really not good? Well, because now I'm not saying to eat your lotion. I'm not saying that. But if you eat something that's slightly toxic, your liver has a chance to detox it. If you put it in your skin, it's going straight into your bloodstream. There's just no protection. It's going straight into your bloodstream and causing all kinds of hormonal, and we call them endocrine disruptions. So what do? First thing we have to look at is get rid of all of the things that are not good for you now that you're aware of it before you maybe didn't know, right? Now we want to start bringing the hormones back to balance. Remember, there was that estrogen come up and push and push and push, and the little progesterone's going, I'm trying to help you, but the estrogen's just pumping it out. So the progesterone's like, So what are we going to do? We're going to look at some estrogen detoxification support. So indole-3 carbinol is one thing. It comes from cruciferous vegetables. It supports estrogen metabolism and balance and detox. Estrogen metabolism and detox. Metabolism means it chews it up, metabolizes it. It chews it up, kind of, by metaphor. DIM is converted into indole-3 carbinol, and it supports estrogen metabolism and detox. And then we have another, calcium D-Glucarate. I know these sound like odd words, but it supports estrogen metabolism and detox and helps in the liver and the intestine. So they both target slightly different places. So what do we do about this? This product has both. It has calcium D-Glucarate and a DIM in it. It's a one-for. You just take it, and with all due respect and gentleness, when a man has man boobs, that's an estrogen dominance issue. That's what it is. So men can take DIM as well. Always check with your doctor, but yeah. The other thing is topical progesterone cream. Why? Because remember that diagram where the estrogen is coming up and then it comes down and the progesterone comes up. Well, if a person has been having a lot of estrogen and it's just been pumping up, pumping up, pumping up, and the progesterone's just like, it's supporting it with a little progesterone, it can start to balance until you kind of have some time to detox and things get a little more regular. It comes from wild yam. It's pure USP progesterone. So it does say how to use it on the package, but what I would recommend is it also helps with hair loss because, 5-alpha reductase. I remembered it. Oh, good. Last lecture, I forgot what it was. Your liver produces something called 5-alpha reductase, and what that does is it causes hair shedding. So progesterone cream inhibits the liver from making 5-alpha reductase. So you have less likelihood of hair thinning. Anyway, how you use it is, it says to put it on places where the skin is thin. So like on the abdomen, on the inner thighs. I wouldn't really do it on your arms. You could, but if you hug somebody, you could transfer some of it to the other person. Sometimes I'll put it on my thighs, and if I have any left, I'll just put it on my face. But what I do, it says to cycle it, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. What I do is you don't have to do this, but I cycle myself to the full moon. So when there's a full moon, I stop. I mark 7 days out. I look at the calendar. Oh, okay, time to start. And then I just put it on for 3 weeks. When it's a full moon, I stop. If there's a little bit of variance, oh well, close enough. Great stuff. I've been taking it, oh my gosh, probably 40 years. It's great stuff. So a quick recap. So avoid xenoestrogens. You want to start getting rid of those puppies. And then to detox, you can ask the now DIM 200 progesterone cream to help with the hormone balance. Check your labels, eat organic, ditch the plastics, at least the ones with the bad stuff in it. And then now we're going to talk about targeted supplements that you can take to help with the symptoms, to help balance. When we're all done, hopefully it will make sense. Menstrual cycles and PMS. So those of you who have people that are still having PMS, it happens around the 14th day. 30 to 40% of menstruating women have it. 80% of women who experience it experience emotional, physical changes. It's caused by the fluctuation of the estrogen and progesterone, and then again, as we talked, the exacerbated estrogens can exacerbate, the xenoestrogens can exacerbate the PMS. It's most dominant in the 40s, which kind of surprised me, because I always think of teenagers, But what are some of the common symptoms of PMS? Mood swings, feeling upset, anxious, irritable, tiredness, trouble sleeping, bloating, tummy pains, breast tenderness, headaches, blemishes, spotty skin, greasy hair. Remember, this is what xenoestrogen cause. So this is a really cool supplement. It's called PMS ASAP. It's actually a 2-month supply, and you're only supposed to take it when you're having PMS. So you do it for a week or 2 weeks, whenever you're experiencing that, and then you stop. The girl who made that had PMS so bad that she kind of became incapacitated. So it's a really, really good supplement. So I like to say supplements are not a religion. I don't want you to do it just because I say so. I want to give you a little bit of information on why they chose some of these things. So cramp bark, it's kind of indicative. It helps with cramps. It helps with the uterus. It nourishes the uterus and provides support to the uterus. Dong Quai helps the smooth muscle relax and helps with circulation. Chinese peony nourishes the blood and helps regulate menstruation. Chinese sage and cassia promote healthy blood flow and supports healthy inflammation. So It's just 2 capsules twice daily, and it can be very, very helpful. So now we're going to talk about a couple daily formulas. We're just going to do 2, although I did mention the Solar Ray. They have one as well. So the daily formula, Rhythm and Flow, it's really good. It uses Ayurveda, 5-element theory, and herbalism to develop. That's the tradition that they use to develop this. It works throughout the month. It contains botanicals. It helps the cycle, PMS-related symptoms. It uses magnesium to help reduce nervousness and breast tenderness. B6, you're going to see B6 in a lot of things. It's like the chill B vitamin. It's just very calming. It's really, really good. It helps magnesium enter our cells. Chase tree is also called Vitex. Vitex helps balance hormones. It's used for gynecological problems involved in excess prolactin or lutein phase. It's associated with PMS. And it's also associated with a healthy or normal secretion of hormones. Donquai and ginger for digestive support. Dandelion helps replace the potassium. It nourishes diuretic. And it's useful for water weight gain, which is pretty cool. Cleavers is a tonic for the lymphatic system and helps if you're having PMS-related acne. For hormonal balance, there's another, and it's called MacaHarmony. I love Maca. I love Maca. So this one's for menstruation, and this is for when you're still in reproductive years. Why do I like it? Because I joke around and I say it's just a potato. It's a cruciferous root vegetable, but it's just a root. That's all it is. It's just a root. It's very important that you choose a maca that's targeted to your demographic. If a person just grabs anything and takes it, if you're taking a maca that could actually be better for a man, it actually can exacerbate POS. It can exacerbate ovary issues. So you don't really want to do that. Please get things that are female-centered. So 20% of women under the age of 36 are using birth control pills for off-prescription use, like regulating the cycle. I mean, when I was 16, which was a minute ago, they put me on birth control pills because I had an irregular period. I was an athlete. That was so dumb, in my opinion. Acne, PMS, PCOS, not having a period. MacaHarmony does not introduce any hormones. It supports the body's ability to balance its own hormones. I could literally do a 2-hour lecture on these 3 products. They are so amazing. If you turn the box, there's a QR code. You can get the research of all of the things that it does. Like, one of the biggest things it does is it helps the adrenals. One of the biggest things is it naturally helps the adrenals. It also helps cardiovascular. It helps bone, especially the perimenopause and the menopause, especially helps with bone. But anyway, this particular one, I have to make it short. So this particular one helps with menstrual health, hormone balance, fertility, mood, hair, skin, and nails. So we're going to talk a little bit about fertility in just a second here. So there are 17 different phenotypes. That means types of maca. Now, this is Symphony Health is the company, but it comes from Peru, and it's grown. Their maca is grown on the mountain, and they know, like, I don't know exactly, but for instance, they know in the spring on that side of the mountain at that altitude, that's when we pick for this phenotype. And down here in the fall, when it's wet, we pick this one. And I mean, they got it down to the T. And so in this particular one, it has 2 phenotypes. The first one's they call, it's a registered trademark Maca Go. And it has, It's specifically formulated to support women's health, like hormone balance and adrenals and all that stuff. But the MacaHarmony, which is another phenotype, there's two phenotypes in here, it supports women's cycle and egg quality. And egg quality. So don't do both. You would choose one or the other. And what I would recommend is do a box. Whatever it is, just do the whole box every day and see how you feel. So I went into menopause a long time ago, and I wasn't taking anything. And I thought, I got to walk my walk and talk my talk. So I started taking this last March. I started taking this last March, and I took it for about 6-7 months, and I thought, okay. And I did feel better. I felt more uplifted. I just felt good. And okay, enough of that. So I stopped it, and about a month and a half later, I was getting really grouchy and stuff, and I was like, okay. So I started up, and okay, I'm in. Anyway, let's move on to perimenopause. This is my favorite thing to talk about because it's so crazy. It's a hormonal roller coaster. So in the 40s and 50s, it can start as early as 35. You think like things are going crazy. Women are blindsided by the changes that are happening. A lot of women, they talk to their grandmothers or their mothers, yeah, I ended that at 50 or I ended that at 45. They lived different lives than we're living now. But so most women think that they're going to it's going to start slowing down and then it'll gradually go down, but that's not what happens. What's happening is the ovaries are shutting down, and so sometimes they really, really go fast, and then nothing. So that's when you might have a really bad cramping and a really bad period and be really, really grouchy, and then you're fine for a long time, and you think, oh, well, that was menopause and perimenopause, I'm okay now. And then it starts up again, and it's slightly different. It's crazy. So what are some of the symptoms? Mood swings, loss of libido. This one I actually want to touch about because I know I'm kind of being a little bit edgy here, but I think sometimes hormones can affect relationships because I know for myself when I was going through this, I was like second guessing myself, like, do I really love my husband? Do I want to get a divorce? Like, where is the spark? And it was the gosh darn hormones. It was like and then you know what else? Right about that time, I had teenagers in the house that were going through their own hormonal stuff. It's a wonder that guy has any hair. So maybe not. I think knowing about perimenopause can help the relationships. Difficulty sleeping, hot flushes, night sweats, hair loss, hair thinning, carb cravings, weight loss. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but I've been a big meditator my whole life, and when I was getting hot flashes, I was like, I have to ask my inner, what is going on? So I remember one time I got really quiet in meditation. I said, what is going on? And what I got was, your thermostat's wonky. I just thought it was so funny. Yeah, okay. It was just hormones, but anyway. So this is what most people think is going to happen. The first part is during reproductive years. And then that's what we hope happens. The top one is estrogen. This is progesterone. This is going to come into play. Hair loss. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The testosterone levels. That's what we hope happens, but this is what really happens. Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy time. And then a lot of times, well, these days the doctors are much better. But back when I was young, when I went in there, you know what WW means? It's a notation in a doctor's note that means whiny woman. Yeah. The doctors are much better these days because we won't put up with it these days. Back then, we were just like, oh, give me some, whatever. Anyway, And then later on, it does balance out. And I call this the wise woman years. Like, we own this, lady. We worked for that. When everything kind of calms down. But in the meantime, we have to deal with it. So what are some of the things? Exercise, really, really, really exercise. Eat healthfully. Go organic as much as possible, the whole xenoestrogen thing. And there's other reasons as well. And supplement with things that are going to support you. So what are the ways we can support ourselves? Hormonal balance. We're going to talk about hair growth because that's an issue. And sleep. So now we're into perimenopause. This is one of my favorite, and I want to tell you a story about this. So there was and absolutely true. I mean, everything I say is true, but when I say it's true, I'm trying to be more dramatic. So I was working at Schaumburg, and this woman came in, and I said, hi, how are you? And she's good. And she reached for the box, and she took it. And I says, oh, can I help you with anything else? She says, no, this is what I came in for. And then I didn't say anything. She volunteered. She goes, this saved my life. And I said, tell me more. She says, well, I didn't care. It's not like I was going to hurt myself or anything, but I just meh. I didn't care about life. I mean, my grandkids, I just didn't care. So she said, I'm taking this and I feel cheerful again. I feel like interested in life and I just feel so much better. And I have to admit it gave me goosebumps. It just gave me goosebumps because it's a potato. It's a root vegetable. It's a root vegetable. It's not like some fancy, I mean, granted, they do pick it especially for that demographic. Yes. So it is special, but it's still a potato. It's a cruciferous root vegetable. So this is for somebody who's experiencing hot flashes, night sweats, and somebody who's still having their period. So MacaLife has the highest success rate of any herbal product, It has a success rate in perimenopausal women of 74 to 82%. Now, I want to tell you that if you go to your doctor for hormone replacement therapy, I would recommend it. I would recommend it. If that's what, don't do both. You can't do this and that. But I would recommend it. It is 90% success rate with identical hormone therapy, okay? This is 82%. This is a potato. So if you're having issues, it might be worth a try. So on the box, it actually lists hormone, hot flashes, mood, energy, sleep, night sweats, heart health, desire and dryness, hair, skin, and nails. It also is adrenals, thyroid. It's amazing. And it's simple. That's the thing it's simple. Now, it's 2 a day, 1 and 1, 2 a day, 1 and 1. This is 4 a day, 2 and 2. So when it is, so what I do is they have these punch packs, and I just throw a punch pack in my purse so I can take it later. They also punch pack theirs because they think that oxygen affects the benefits of the maca phenotypes. So when you grab a bag of maca powder, it's sort of like you're going to lose some of the potency. It helps fluctuated hormones, night sweats, mood, heart health, hair, skin, and nails. Fantastic. 90% to the doctor, which if you need a doctor, please see a doctor. Or 82%. And the box is way cool. If you're into crafting, these are really cool boxes. Anyway, moving on. Adrenal support. Adrenals are really, really important. So when the ovaries are shutting down, the adrenals are supposed to help. They're supposed to take over. But most women, it happens to men too, but almost always it's a woman that has adrenal issues. I'm not going to ask you, but there's a lot of women that are on thyroid medicine. So what happens is your adrenals work, they exhaust. Then the thyroid says, I'll help you. And then the thyroid helps those. So now the thyroid is doing the work of 3 organs, the 2 adrenals in itself, and then it gets tired, you get really tired, you go to the doctor says, oh, blood work, your thyroid is low. Here's some levothyroxine or something, which is great. I've been on levothyroxine for 40, 45, 50 years now. But what happens is, if you keep supplementing that, the thyroid, because now you're supplementing, it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. And now my thyroid's really tiny. I have to take thyroid medicine and I take adrenal supplements because in that scenario I just told you, what's missing? What's missing is nobody ever addressed the adrenals. The whole thing started because the adrenals were exhausted. So the adrenals balance electrolytes. We talked earlier before some of you came here, the adrenals, if they get really, really exhausted, they make glycogen. So when you're really exhausted, it makes glycogen and you're actually making and storing your own fat. So a lot of women say, I don't understand why I can't lose weight. I'm not even eating the same amount anymore. I'm eating less. I'm still gaining weight. Well, because you're so exhausted, your adrenals are kicking out glycogen trying to help you, but you can't digest your own glycogen, so you're storing it as fat. Yeah, it's crazy. The other thing adrenals make is something called pregnenolone. It's the stress gland. It makes cortisol. Cortisol is the fight or flight hormone. But as I said before, as the adrenals start to go, as the hormone production starts to shift, the adrenals are supposed to make pregnenolone. What pregnenolone does is pregnenolone, your body can convert pregnenolone to estrogen or progesterone, whatever you need. So when that crazy stuff is happening, the pregnenolone is supposed to ease that out. So it's less like this and a little bit more like this. So, but when our adrenals are exhausted, it hasn't got anything to give you. So this is the first supplement we're going to talk about. Sandhya, you can have 5 products in the store and you'll never be able to have anything else from the store. Adrenaplex would be one of them. It's such a fantastic product. And this is why. Okay, so first of all, if you're not taking vitamin C, please start taking vitamin C. Vitamin C is not only good for your collagen, it's critical for your adrenal function, critical. So it has vitamin C, B6. We talked about B6. You know, I'm going to grab the box so I don't have to keep turning around. B6 is like the peace out B vitamin. It's very relaxing, calming. Pantothenic acid, I forgot, sorry. Tyrosine, L-tyrosine helps your thyroid. It's important for your thyroid. Adrenal extract, that's one of the key, there's 3 really, really important things here. And the adrenal extract this is not vegan, it's bovine. So you have some really cool shoes and you have some sandals. You cannot make gym shoes out of that, or shoes out of that material. It's different. Your liver, your heart, your adrenals, your intestines, they all have a different amino acid profile, right? So if you're trying to repair the adrenals, adrenal extract is exactly the building blocks the adrenals need to repair themselves. So it can act almost homeopathically and saying, here, this is oh yeah, I need this piece and I need this piece and I need this, and it's just so good for the adrenals. Licorice is really good for blood pressure. I can't remember what the next one is. And then pregnenolone, 15 milligrams of pregnenolone. Remember, pregnenolone your body converts to estrogen and progesterone, whatever you need. So it helps balance all of those crazinesses. And then DHEA. DHEA is the other really important one. So I'm going to say it, then I'll explain it. So DHEA is the spigot. What do I mean? All right, so analogies. So imagine your body is your adrenals, and the cortisol is a hose coming out of your house. So imagine your body is a house, and the cortisol is the water coming out of the hose, right? So you're stressed out, so your body says, oh, we need some cortisol. So it shoots out the fight or flight hormone, right? Well, imagine you're a house in a hose, you turn on the water, and then you go to shut it off, and the spigot breaks. So now it's stuck on. So now flood, 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 flood. You can't shut it off. So when there's not enough DHEA, that's the spigot. When a healthy adrenal can regulate its cortisol because of its, or one of the factors, a strong factor is the DHEA. So this supplies DHEA so you can regulate the amount of cortisol. What am I talking about? I don't know if you've ever met anybody who said, they tell me to meditate, they tell me to relax, I get a massage, I go for walks, I just can't settle down. It's almost like they're stuck on what's called fight or flight. Well, maybe their DHEA is too low, you know? So again, like she asked me earlier, how do you know if you need the adrenals? Try it. If you're exhausted and no matter what you're trying, and by the way, doing coffee to try to do that's just gonna actually exhaust you more. I drink coffee every day, but I drink one in the morning, that's it. So this is a fantastic supplement. It's so fantastic, you're really not supposed to take it more than 2 months. You're supposed to take it, 1 bottle or maybe 2, and then stop, and then go on a daily adrenal. We have other adrenal supplements, Life Seasons, we have other adrenal supplements. It's fantastic. Yeah. The other thing this is good for is somebody who runs marathons. I have a friend, Gary, who runs marathons, and he gets exhausted after a marathon, so he'll take this for about a week after his marathon because he's pretty much beat up his body, and it helps him recover. So now we're going to talk about menopause. So this one actually is kind of cool because it's not really just for menopause. If you read the box, it says for pre, which is reproductive years, peri, and menopause and postmenopause. So this is menopause and hair growth. It's really for anybody, but let's talk about it. So it has 3 ingredients. It has something called Esquil. 80% of Americans do not have healthy gut linings. A healthy gut lining produces Esquil, and Esquil helps with hot flashes, night sweats, interrupted sleep, low energy, irritability. But 70 to 80% of us, because our gut are unhealthy, can't make it. What they found is if you supplement it, it works just as good. It works just as good if you supplement. So it's the Esquil. Then there's the transresveratrol, which helps with sleep problems, muscle, joint discomfort. That's related to menopause. And resveratrol is a really good free radical scavenger for your heart as well. The third ingredient is my favorite, Carinate. It's 300 milligrams of Carinate. These are all clinical doses. The clinical dose is the amount that's been proven to have a positive effect for the target you're taking it for. This is really good for hair thickness, quality, and density. Why? Because it supports the papilla. So let's talk about the papilla. See this little guy right there? So this is the papilla, and my arm is the hair. And what happens is the hair is anchored to the papilla. The papilla supplies blood flow and nutrition, but it does something even more important. It provides resistance. It provides toughness to the hair. Have you ever grown a tomato plant inside the house? Have you ever started a plant that you're going to put outside? Well, I have. If you start a tomato plant inside, you have to do something called hardening it off. You have to put it in the spring, you have to put it out for maybe an hour in the shade, then bring it back in, because it has no strength. Because it hasn't had any resistance. Well, a strong papilla will make that hair be stronger. It'll like give it a little bit of resistance. So the hair has to kind of fight, like lifting a muscle sort of. So it's been clinically proven to help hair in 12 weeks. I took it. Within 2.5 weeks, I felt a difference. How is this possible, I told myself, but it did. My hair it did feel more lustrous. So if you look here, this is the first one before. If you notice, it's very elongated. It's kind of like stretched out above there. Here it's more dense, there's more blood flow, the hair is thicker. It's just really great stuff. Now, this supplement is $54. If you went and we have it on the shelf, if you went and just got the carinate itself is $40 just for the carinate for a month. You're getting a twofer here. You're getting both the carinate and the menopause or perimenopause support. And then let's look at one more, MenoWise. Where is MenoWise? MenoWise is right here. This uses the whole traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, and herbalism. Now, they have something called Estrogen. It's a trademarked ingredient, and they targeted the 10 most important, most prevalent menopause symptoms: hot flashes, sleep, vertigo, joint pain, dryness, night sweats, nervousness, mood, fatigue, and skin sensations. What that means is, have you ever felt just like you feel kind of creepy, like your skin just, and so it helps with that. It's a really good product. And the other thing it has is Shatavari. Shatavari is an Ayurvedic herb. Shatavari literally, if you understood the language, means the woman with 1,000 husbands. It can help with libido. It can help with energy. I took Shatavari in some, we have something called Sheila Jeet for her. I got so silly. I just got so silly. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Anyway, so this is another option. And then another option is the MacaPause. We're in menopause, and I told you this is the one that I'm on. It's for people who have not had a period for 12 months. It's for 50 and up. Look at all the things it does. Heart health, bone health, vaginal dryness, low mood, libido, mental health, energy, hot flashes, night sweats, hair, skin, and nails. And I did mention, but all of these also help with the adrenals. Remember we talked about the highest success rate and the 90%? The thing is, like, if you're in menopause and you're just getting into these, I don't think if you go to a doctor in menopause and say, I want identical hormone therapy, I don't think they give it to us. I don't think they do that at our age. You can double check, but from some of the feedback I got, they won't do that anymore. So, this is a really good option. And if they would do it, 90% of it is effective, but this is 84%. And then 60% for other natural products. So you wouldn't do all of them, you would pick one. And how do you decide? So if you're going to try something, this is the simplest. If you have a hair issue and you want to try something, that's a very good choice. Or if you want to go with Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine and things like that, that's also a very good choice. So just basically pick one. For on-the-go support, that just means like if you're stressed out during the day, we're kind of on a different subject now, is this stress relief gummy. They're fun. It's just fun. It's got rhodiola, which gives you energy, saffron. It makes you feel so happy you kind of don't want to eat. It gives you a dopamine hit. It's really good. It's a really good gummy. It's just fun. It's just like stress relief in a little gummy. A lot of times we have trouble with sleep. Like, do yourself a favor and get a sleep supplement. Don't tough it out. Like, really. As we get older, we don't make as much melatonin. Did you know that? We don't make, and guess what? A healthy gut lining makes melatonin. And 80% of us don't have a healthy gut lining. Oh. So solid sleep is just a good basic sleep supplement. It's got L-theanine, apigenin, and magnesium. Melatonin. Melatonin puts you to sleep. It doesn't really keep you asleep. why am I bringing this up? If you're just having a trouble falling asleep, this would be good. It is a gummy, so please eat it, then brush your teeth, okay? But the other thing is, if you wake up in the middle of the night, and I would say if you have about 4 or 5 hours left, like if you wake up at 4 and you got to get up 6, don't be taking something. But if it's like 1 or 2 in the morning, which is typically, by the way, one of the ways that ancient culture would identify this is people who have adrenal issues usually wake up about 2 in the morning every night. That's just one of the symptoms. It can be one of the symptoms. So anyway, if you do wake up 1 or 2 in the night and you don't want to take something else, you can just take one of these. Just chew a gummy, brush your teeth really fast, and it can help you go back to sleep. And then, unfortunately, they don't carry this in our store. In this store. They do carry it in other stores. What I did was I grabbed the Rest Z Extra Strength, which, by the way, is very good. It has a bunch of stuff that's really good and 3 milligrams of melatonin. But I do want to address this one because it's one of my favorite. It has B6, which we talked about, the calcium, magnesium for electrolyte balances. The HMB is the big deal here. So it's 750 milligrams of HMB. HMB supports the body's muscle. It supports muscle retention and muscle building. They did a study, and Now Foods, there is a lecture on the Now Foods website, because I watched it twice, on HMB. So, okay, ready? 3 grams of HMB for 3 months given to senior adults who could not exercise or did not exercise. After 3 months of 3 grams, they gained 12% muscle mass. That's crazy. I know when my husband got out of the hospital, I put him on that because he was bedridden for so long, he had muscle atrophy. I put him on that. I put it in a shake every day. Now, this is just 750. It's not the 3 grams. It's a quarter of the dose. But still, it helps with muscle retention. Muscle loss is an issue for us as well as we get older. It's got tartrate for the joints, GABA and L-theanine, basically for stress. Glutamine helps the gut lining. It also helps with muscle recovery. 5-HTP, if you're on an SSRI or anything, you really shouldn't be taking 5-HTP, GABA, or L-theanine. But if you're not, it's fine. The only thing about 5-HTP is it could make you have a little bit more vivid dreams, but I like that. So, and then 5 grams of melatonin. All right, wrapping this up. What's the downside to this one? It's 3 capsules. 3 capsules. If I drink enough water to get down 3 capsules before bed, I'm going to be up all night peeing, right? So how do I do it? This is what I do. You do you. But what I do is I put a little bit of water in a glass. I open the 3 capsules. It just tastes like powder. It doesn't taste like anything. I take one of those coffee whiskers. I have one upstairs in the bathroom. I whisk it so it's nice and mixed. I toss it back, take another little bit of water, toss that back, done. Probably 2 ounces of water, I got the whole thing in. It's not flavored, but it doesn't taste bad either. So, and the last thing about this was I was showing a woman this one day, and her son he obviously worked out. He was a teenager. He was obviously maybe 18, 20. He obviously worked out, and he was looking at stuff, and she goes, honey, look at this. What do you think about this? He says, oh, I take that. It's great. So when I take this, when I wake up, I feel refreshed. My muscles feel good. I don't like pump heavy iron or anything, but I work out pretty frequently, and sometimes I get sore. This helps me not be sore the next day. So it's a great supplement. And I want to thank you. On the bottom of your sheet is my email address, wellnessexpert@Fruitful Yield. You'll either get myself or Juan. Juan is my team member. and we answer all the questions. So if you want to email me, if you want to follow up, we're happy to help with any questions you might have after you leave. So thank you.